Spotify employees want editorial control over Joe Rogan's podcast. Multiple Spotify meetings over Joe Rogan's unfiltered style have reportedly taken place, leading to Spotify CEO defending the right to speak freely. My name is Rag Reynolds and welcome back to Medium Rare. Yeah, it's been a little bit since I made a video here, but this subject really grasped my attention, and this is something that I care quite a bit about. Leaked inside information indicates that Spotify employees may be asking for greater editorial control over Joe Rogan's JRE podcasts. While this seems like an unlikely move and one that wouldn't be popular with viewers, it might also be possible under Spotify's content rules. The Spotify deal to host the Joe Rogan Experience was announced earlier this year, moving the wildly popular podcast from its original home on YouTube to the new video podcast section on Spotify. Rogan told listeners that the entire JRE library would be available on Spotify starting September, although that wasn't totally true. Spotify found some episodes violated its content rules and did not add them to the library. And what I just said right there is what started the issues here with this whole Joe Rogan Spotify deal. It was announced months back that Joe Rogan was signing a $100 million agreement, a huge contract to move his podcast to Spotify, and at the time I was like, fantastic, good on you, Joe. Regardless of your thoughts on Joe Rogan, personally I quite like him. I don't think you could fault anyone for taking such a great deal. However, Rogan had promised his viewers, he promised everyone that the show would remain the same. And the whole thing about Joe Rogan's show, the thing everyone loves about it, is the fact that his podcast is usually 2 or 3 hours long, and he just sits down with a guest, completely unedited, completely unfiltered, and he has a conversation with them. And sometimes that guest is highly controversial. Sometimes the person he's interviewing is a real piece of work. They're a piece of crap. But you know what? That's what makes the show so great. The fact that he has on pretty much anyone. He has on people who are far left, he has on centrists, he has on far right people, he has good people, he has bad people, he has controversial people, he has tame people. He has everyone you could think of. If someone wants to be on the show, he'll book them on the show if the interest is high enough. And that's what makes his show so great. It makes it great because you get to hear people's ideas in a long form, unfiltered, unedited conversation. And that is so different from so many other podcasts and so many other shows out there. Whether you agree with the guests he has on or not, it is a great thing, in my opinion, that he has them on in the first place, so that people can actually hear their ideas, so that people can hear what they have to say and make their own mind up about whoever that guest may be. But it seems that many employees at Spotify do not like this. They cannot stand the fact that Joe Rogan would want certain guests on his podcast. They cannot stand the fact that certain things would be said on Joe Rogan's podcast. And so instead of letting the free market of ideas exist, instead of allowing people to have freedom of speech, instead of allowing people to just freely voice their ideas, no matter how controversial they may be, these Spotify employees want to shut it all down. They want editorial control. They want to be able to edit the podcast before it goes live, taking out certain segments, taking out certain lines, or perhaps even stopping the episode from airing entirely. And this has already happened when Joe Rogan moved this podcast over to Spotify, because some of the best episodes were not moved over. The viral podcast Joe Rogan had with Alex Jones, for example. That is one that never made it over to Spotify because apparently it broke the terms of service over in Spotify. And personally, I think that's a whole lot of bullcrap. According to Vice, a town hall meeting was held to discuss the issue. Apparently, Spotify CEO Daniel Ek defended Rogan's right to speak freely, while gingerly acknowledging Spotify's own responsibility to moderate its content. Ek was said to mention 10 other meetings about Rogan recently, so this could be an ongoing issue. At this moment in time, it does seem as though the Spotify CEO is clamping down on these employees who want to edit Joe Rogan's podcast. He's telling them no. So for the time being, it seems as though the podcast is mostly safe. Although, as we already said, some of those episodes are already gone. I'm hoping that Joe Rogan will continue to have free reign for his podcast so that he can invite on whoever he wants to speak to and so that he can talk about whatever he wants to talk about. But in this ever-evolving climate, in this ever-evolving social world, I really do struggle to see his podcast lasting well on Spotify. So many people, especially seemingly these people working at Spotify, have issues with dissenting opinions. These people do not like to hear opinions that oppose their own. They do not like to hear from people who disagree with them. They do not like people that they dislike to have a voice. There are a lot of people out there who want people deplatformed simply for holding a different opinion, and you can count me out of those people because that is not me in the slightest. I am all for free discussion. I am all for the free flow of ideas. And I think when a bad idea is presented, we should respond to it by debating it, by shutting it down through speech and through our own ideas. Not by trying to ban it from a platform, not by trying to stop that person from being able to speak about that idea in the first place. I think that is a recipe for disaster, and I think it is wrong. But hey folks, let me know what you think in those comments down below. Do you agree with me? Do you not agree with me? Let me know in those comments. I've been very busy recently. I have been posting more videos on my other channel, Rag Reynolds, although even there I've not been as frequent as usual. I've got a lot going on at the moment. For one, I am in the process of planning a wedding, among other things. But every once in a while, there are topics that pop up that do grab my interest a little more strongly than others, and this just happened to be one of them. Anyway, folks, until next time, my name is Rag Reynolds, and this was Medium Rare.